Hi there, this is Miles Bosworth back again today to talk with you about MarketAmericaShop.com brands. And today the profile that we're going to be talking about is the flagship brand from Shop.com and Market America called OPC-3, otherwise scientifically known as oligomeric proanthocyanidins. This stuff is unbelievable. Now my background is just so you kind of get a feel for how I was introduced to this. My background is not in nutrition, or at least it wasn't when I came across this. And my background is instead in business administration, and I'm an entertainer, and so I've got experience with art and music and business, but not so much nutrition. So when this was introduced to me, it didn't really hit on my radar very much. I didn't give it a lot of thought. I was very skeptical about it, and I'm glad that my sweetheart Jen all but forced me to drink this stuff, because after I got on it for a little while, I started noticing some pretty remarkable changes in my life. So we're going to talk real quick here about what OPC-3 is, what it's most commonly used for, and how it's administered, and then I'll talk a little bit more about my experiences. So OPC-3 is the flagship line from Isotonix, which is the MarketAmericaShop.com brand of nutritional supplements. And what's really cool about Isotonix, to just give you a basic idea of what makes it special, is it's an isotonic delivery system, and that basically just means that you mix it with a little water here. You can see on these little lines here on this cap, that's 2 ounces of water there on either side of that line, and so you mix 1 capful of the powder with 2 ounces of water, and it creates what we call an isotonic solution that is the same fluid pressure as your bodily fluids, and that enables it to pass right through your digestive tract into your intestines and be absorbed readily availably, within like 5 minutes if it's on an empty stomach. And so this is really remarkable for a few reasons. One, any juices that you have out there, or nutritional supplements in the form of pills or whatever, we normally don't get very good absorption out of that. A lot of times the pills have little fillers in them, and those fillers will, they'll bind up, and your body isn't able to fully digest and break those down. So what's really neat about the isotonic delivery system is that it enables you to really absorb all that, up to like 95% absorption on an empty stomach, which is about the closest you can get without getting intravenous, liquid vitamins. So that is a huge game changer. And then when you combine the delivery system with the ingredients in OPC-3, it quickly becomes obvious that this is kind of a big deal. So what is OPC-3? Well, it's a collection of antioxidant ingredients that, when combined together, kind of optimize your body's ability to deal with and get rid of inflammation. And if you start looking through most chronic issues that people have, whether it's allergies, dietary issues, weight problems, chronic pain, things like that, it all comes back to inflammation most of the time. So if you can deal with that inflammation, your body can heal itself. And this is probably one of the best ingredients that you could put into your body, into the equation, to make that happen. All right, so this is, on the website here, you can get kind of an idea. When they say the most powerful antioxidant on the, supplement on the market, they are not kidding. Does promote cardiovascular health, helps maintain healthy cholesterol and blood glucose levels, healthy circulation, strengthening capillaries, arteries, and veins, promotes healthy blood vessel dilation, and promotes anti-inflammatory activity while promoting joint health. So that's kind of what it's supposed to do, and my experience has been exactly that. When Jen first brought this stuff to my attention, she all but forced me to drink it, and I'm really glad that she did, because as I got onto it, I started noticing some big changes. And what that means to me is that having had all kinds of birth defects when I was born, I had a lot of surgeries, so there's been a lot of leftover damage in my body. I've got all kinds of structural issues that cause me chronic pain and cause extra inflammation in my body. I've got a big plaque of scar tissue in my chest that limits my my ability to get oxygen, and my lung capacity is diminished under 50%. So for me, I had a lot of issues that I was dealing with at the time, and I would take certain remedies, you know, for the pain management stuff. I didn't want to get caught up in pharmaceuticals because that's, you know, people are dying over that left and right. So it's a pretty serious issue and you want to stay away from it. And so my solution was a pretty amazing powder called kratom powder. It's just a ground up leaf that they get from like Southeast Asia, and it can have some pretty powerful pain relieving properties. Pretty powerful pain relieving properties. That's some alliteration for you right there. Anyway, so I was taking it 3 to 4 times a day, and it was, you know, over time you start to develop a tolerance for it, and as with most things. And so it was less and less effective, and I was committing to myself, both for financial reasons and for health reasons, that I wasn't going to up my dosage with the kratom, and I was starting to kind of run out of options with that. And so I introduced the OPC-3 into the equation, and immediately it potentiated my kratom, and that means that it made my kratom work better again, as if it was when I first started taking the kratom. So I was able to bring my dosage down from 3 to 4 doses a day to 2 to 3. And now I'm usually at about 2 doses a day. So now that I've been on this for longer, it's even helped more. So that was something that started developing for me. Some people see big results with OPC-3 right away, within 5-10 minutes, 15 minutes. Some people, it takes them being on it a week or two, sometimes even a month or two before they start seeing the really big results. In my case, it was a couple of weeks before I started noticing a lot of changes, and before it really kind of became a concrete kind of factor in my life. It took about a month. So what I've noticed is that having been on this, I don't think that my lung capacity has improved because of the structural problem that I have. It's not, my lungs aren't going to take in more air, but I am getting more oxygen. So I'm feeling, one of the big things for me is that the fact that I didn't have enough oxygen caused me to get fatigued really easily throughout the day. And so one of the things that really popped up was my ability to kind of feel like I could breathe, and also my energy levels. You know, I wouldn't get fatigued so easily, so I was able to kind of start working out more than I had been before, and getting stronger and healthier in that way. And so one of the things too for me that I've had a problem with that made this especially exciting, not just for the OPC-3 but for the Isotonix in general, is the fact that one of the birth defects I had is it was called tracheoesophageal fistula, and that's fancy speak for my esophagus didn't connect to my stomach properly when I was born. And so as a result of the surgeries that had to be done to fix that, I have real problems trying to swallow things. I get food stuck in my throat every single day, and it's made things like swallowing pills incredibly difficult for me, if not impossible, in certain situations. So I've had a really difficult time trying to do things like take nutritional supplements or whatever, and as I was learning that the pill forms don't really help you very much anyway, I didn't feel like it was too much of a loss. But the fact that I can take this orally in a liquid form enables me to get all of these nutrients, and I don't have to worry about getting it stuck in my throat or anything like that. So it's enabled me to stay steady on this and have it be a regular daily part of my routine. And I think that that's something that it can be difficult for people, is to have a routine that they want to implement that they can stick with. And so having the OPC-3 in that liquid form like that makes all the difference for me. So let's see here. I'm just trying to recap. So I'm just, you know, I like to have a conversational way of doing this rather than having it sound really scripted. So I don't like doing that. I like to just speak from the heart. And so I'm going to do a quick recap here and see if there's anything I missed. I noticed increased mobility and increased energy levels with this, and not in a small way, in a big way. Increased energy levels, increased flexibility and mobility, potentiated my kratom, and there are a few other things too. Like I used to get sick from time to time, you know, if there was cold season or whatever going around. I've always been pretty well off that way, pretty healthy. So if everyone around me is down for, with the flu for 5 days, I'm down for 3 or 4. So it's been a little better that way for me. But since I've been on OPC3, I have not gotten sick at all. The worst I ever get is a stuffy nose, and that's actually your body just having killed all of whatever disease it was, bacteria or whatever, and then it puts it into your mucus, and then you blow your nose or whatever, and then you get it out of your body. So that's actually a natural process that is not a problem. That's a good thing. But that's the worst I ever get is a stuffy nose or something. And that's a pretty big deal because now that I've been on this for almost 2 years, I've got 2 kids and they both go to 2 different schools. That means that's 2 different schools worth of other people's kids and their germs and everything. So you're pretty much exposed to everything in town in terms of diseases or whatever, bacterial infections or viral infections, that kind of thing. And my immune system has been dialed to 11, so much so that like I said, I don't get sick at all. Another thing that I've seen a lot of improvement on in my own self is there have been little things. I don't have a lot of allergies either. I've been fortunate that way. But even, in the height of spring, when pollen's really getting crazy, I still have had like a minor allergic reaction or something like that, a little histamine reaction. But for the most part, it hasn't really been a big problem for me. And anytime I have had an issue with that, or what I normally would have an issue, since I've been on the OPC3, I just haven't had any of that. Finally, there's another thing that's a little interesting that I noticed, is that I heal. I'm 33 now, and I think a lot of people find that when you cross over into your 30s, you start to notice your body aging a little bit. You're just not cool. You're not falling apart at the seams if you're taking care of yourself a little bit, but it's just you don't bounce back quite as quickly as you used to. And so what I noticed was that I had slipped out in the rain and knocked my head really hard on the corner of my car door, and I had a pretty big gash on my forehead from it. And I was expecting it to take, a couple of weeks to kind of heal up, maybe a month to heal up. And I would say that even though it was a pretty deep cut, I bled a lot, as you do if you cut yourself on your face. In my late 20s and early 30s, before I came across OPC3, that would have taken me, like I said, a couple of weeks or a month to heal from. And within a week, it had healed up almost 100%. And I was really blown away by that. That was something I didn't really anticipate happening. But, that's the thing, is when you start amplifying your body's immune response and you start stabilizing your oxygen levels and your blood sugar levels, which this can help with as well, you start stabilizing free radical issues and getting rid of inflammation, you start to see weird benefits that you hadn't even thought of. And so that's one of the things is I think this is, my experience is not unique with this. Most people that I've come across who get on this stuff, especially on a regular basis, their stories are all pretty much the same. And so it's no surprise that it's the #1 selling, product on shop.com. It's no surprise that this is a common ingredient found in all the isotonic formulas. No, I mean, it's not in every isotonic formula, but anytime that there's a regimen, you generally find OPC3 in there because it's just so powerful and such a scattershot with so many issues. It helps your body deal with so many different things. So that's my experience with it, and that's actually, the OPC3. And there's one other product we're going to take a look at here real quick. Is I was like, well, where do I go from here? And as much as I love the OPC3, there were still areas where I would still not have the endurance that I needed to get through my day with certain things. And there were, with my structural problems, I got lots of muscle pain. I had to get muscle spasms. And so one of the things that I did is they came out with this peak performance blend, and this stuff really supplemented my supplements. And as you can see down here on the bottom of this ingredient list here, it says pine bark extract, or pycnogenol. And that pycnogenol is one of the main ingredients in the OPC3 as well. But this also has branched chain amino acids in it, and it's got a selection of B vitamins, C, magnesium, and potassium. And when you put all this together with the OPC3, for me, one of the big things is I'm able to almost use this as a muscle relaxer. You know, I've used muscle relaxers before, like prescription muscle relaxers, and this works just as effectively for me as that does, but without any of the side effects of getting, you know, like muscle relaxers make me really tired, and they're not always effective. So this stuff, I take 3 capfuls of this and a capful of the OPC3, and the results are unbelievable. So, you know, and that's why if it hadn't happened to me, I literally wouldn't believe it. But the stuff is really changed my life, and it's so much so that it's enabled me to then I'll have more energy, more endurance, and I've been able to work out even more. I went from, when I first got onto the OPC3, I would maybe work out once a week. The OPC kind of made it so I could work out like twice a week, and when I added peak performance to it, I was able to then start working out 4, 5, 6 days a week, which is what I get to now. So I'm able to work out 6 days a week. I got the endurance and energy that I need. My immune system is more powerful than it has been in the last 10 years. Bounce back from hangovers a lot better than I used to. If I go out and have a couple of drinks with my friends, that's a pretty big deal too. You know, you bounce back really quickly. So I feel like I kind of just dialed back the clock on my body. And so for that reason, I can't praise this enough. Here, I'm going to just come back so we can get a look at the OPC3. And I think we're going to wrap this up here. But if you're looking into this stuff and you got some kind of issue that you're dealing with, just you got to know that my experience with this is the most common experience that I've seen and heard both firsthand and what I've heard from reviews and other people taking this stuff. Almost everyone who gets on this has these same kinds of life-changing results. So between that and the fact that it's just over $1 a day, even if you do the more expensive, you know, the more less cost-effective version, which would be the 30-day supply, if you do the 90-day supply, that's it's less than $1 a day. So you know, it really is not that expensive, and it has some unbelievable results that you can all but bank on. So that's it for today with Isotonix OPC-3. If you go to the shop.com site that we're looking at right here, you can learn all about this. They've got all kinds of, you know, product classifications. It's gluten-free, all that stuff. They've got videos to learn about it and all kinds of stuff here. But then more than that, they also see and they talk about the Isotonix delivery system. We've got all the ingredients, all kinds of FAQs here, so if you got any questions, they probably have answered it. And then they've got all the science behind it here. You've got all these studies that you can look up for yourself. Holy cow, that's a lot. That's like a lot. And then at the end of it, you get reviews, and you see that just about everybody who takes this stuff doesn't just like it, they swear by it. So anyway, I think that's going to be about it for today. If you have any questions, on this next slide here, you're going to be able to see all my information. Go ahead and get in touch with me, and I'll answer any questions you got about this. So be well, and thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.